pioneer of entertainment and nightlife, co-founder of Viva ABQ, Somos Albuquerque, and Wine Dive. Join us September 28th in celebrating the city's best art, music, food, and culture. This is I Choose Albuquerque with Stephen Segura.
All right, let's do this. Welcome to I Choose Albuquerque, episode 1. Today's guest is going to be Stephen Segura and our co-host, Drew Herig. I already fucked this up.
Good thing it's episode 1. It's episode 1, you know?
So Stephen,
if you don't fuck things up, that'd be weird.
Today's your birthday?
It is my birthday today.
Thanks for spending that with us.
No, there's no place I'd rather be spending it, actually. This is wonderful. This
That's
is
a
exactly what I'd like to be doing on my birthday, and it's not a lie. That's the truth.
So, obviously grew up here, went to La Cueva. What would you do to celebrate your birthday back in the day?
Oh, my God. I was... you know what I really loved to do is I loved to organize my friends together and send out that like group, text at the time because Facebook didn't even exist. That's how old I am. And I was actually really good about getting people together and just getting them into one place and herding the cattle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was always throwing literally the best parties ever since I was a kid, and then especially in college.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That leads me to my next question was, okay, Albuquerque, it's not necessarily known for nightlife like that. So how did you, I guess you're throwing these parties.
Well, geez, man, like La Cueva years, Jackass was super popular back then. So
remember
I
that
was,
era?
dude, I was the kid that had the like.
Did you have the CKY videos too?
Dude, all of them.
All of that
yes.
shit?
And
Yes.
I would just carry around my
guys are old.
can we say fucking? Whatever.
You can say whatever the fuck
And
you want.
I carrying around my little camcorder. It's a mini DV camcorder. It was digital, but it still had tapes. And I would carry that shit with me everywhere. And the funny thing is I still have fucking like 100 of these tapes with like at least an hour's worth of footage on them. I have like all of my high school years recorded.
Dude.
I need to bring that back out and just like start uploading it onto my Instagram and shit. Just like throwback.
Remember how much more work it was then, though, too?
Dude,
Like,
that's why I haven't done it, man. It's a pain in the ass.
It was so much work back then.
I need a FireWire cable, so if anybody
Yes.
has a FireWire cable and a FiRewire port to hook
and
my
everything
mini
was
DV camera
so
up.
slow, and then trying to put on it was like a CD and all that kind of stuff to be able to share it with somebody or watch it on a TV. You try to burn it to something or
I have them on DVDs, DVD-Rs.
yes.
I just asked my mom and dad to like film me playing basketball, and it was always like the shittiest footage because the cameras were just, terrible.
Mom would like zoom in
Yeah.
too much and not know how to zoom out. And
Didn't catch
you got my
anybody.
calf really well, Mom.
And
Thanks.
That's such a crazy thing to think about because like these years and like our children's lives, I don't know if you have kids. I don't.
I don't.
But when we do, we're gonna have such clear, high resolution footage and documentation of their lives. They're gonna be able to look back and be like, whoa.
Totally. You know what's
know?
crazy is that we're like the first generation though that's going to be like the forever, like we are basically starting like our family tree in a way because we're like the first generation that actually has like footage of us. So it's kind of like that's going to be the start from like great grandkids. They're not going to fucking know your parents or your grandparents. They'll know by a couple photos, but
Yeah,
they'll
that's
actually
true.
like understand who you are and your personality by the videos that we're like
Well,
in creating the
cool to
podcast right now.
And also,
that's
if
cool
you
to
start to
look at.
think back about like your grandparents and your great grandparents, don't you kind of see it in black and white sometimes? It's just a weird image in your mind.
I like barely see it, man.
like
I can't.
nostalgic,
I
though,
can't even
right?
envision
Huh?
it
I
really.
think that black and white is just nostalgic because you
Yeah.
think.
Right.
older.
I see them
Simpler
colorized.
times.
Actually, I
But you see
colorized it
because of
myself.
that's where the technology was then,
Sure.
right?
Totally.
But our grandparents, we are someday going to be older versions of ourselves and maybe see something like this or whatever it is.
Dude, I don't know,
was
man. I don't
captured.
ever age, so
And
that's a good thing.
Um,
My birthday.
it's going to be really interesting to to see that later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be amazing.
Exciting times, honestly.
Oh man, mini DVs.
So from throwing epic parties in high school to the next step, what did that look like? Like, was it thought out? Was it methodical, or just happened?
Dude, no way. Everything happens like the most random possible way that it can.
Yeah.
So college, like, it was really just gathering people. Like, my friends were DJs and at like Q Bar and
Yeah.
stuff, and they'd be like, Steven, roll up, and I'd be like, got 30 deep, let's go, and we'd come in and just take over the dance floor. And yeah, I was really good at that. So, just getting people together, like, even though there wasn't a lot to do, we'd make shit happen. You know,
Right.
it'd be like, all right, well, he's gonna DJ at this place, but if there's 30 of us going,
It's gonna be
you know,
blast.
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
So,
sense. So
well, fun time.
from Redfish.
Oh man. Well. So like. College, yeah, you know, college, I've always just been like this little entrepreneur kid, like, you know, not to just like rip off from Gary Vee or anything, but really like it was snow, like when it would snow, like I would shovel the driveways and get the other neighbor kids, you know, who are younger than me. I'd be like, you know, I'd be doing houses for $10 and I'd be like, hey man, like, you know, if you guys do that house, I'll pay you $5. And then meanwhile, I'd go do other houses for $10 and then I would give them $5 and keep $5. And it all started because I really wanted this damn pogo stick. I really wanted it. And I was like showing my mom, like, you know, those like ad flyers in the newspaper, like Target and stuff.
Yeah.
This was actually Kmart. And I was like, Mom, I have to have this pogo stick. And my mom said the best fucking thing ever to me. And she was like, sick. You better figure out how to get it. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was like, challenge accepted. So then I started like shoveling driveways, washing cars, all that stuff. But on this particular day, shoveling driveways, by the time that I was done, I had like, the pogo stick cost $35. I had like $140.
Did you buy two?
And I did. I did. I swear to God, I bought one for me and I bought one for my brother. But I was like, in case mine breaks. And so I ended up like, at the end of the day, I was like, cool, Mom, take me to Kmart. And she was like, holy shit. And so then I just started to realize, I was like, damn, it's really not that hard to make money. And I still have had that kind of mindset my whole life. Not hard to make money. You know, what's really hard to do is fucking keep it.
Yeah, sustain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so started there and then just kind of always had this like hustling thing. Like I did do the baseball card thing for a while. And then, you know, always working. Like I got my first job at 14 at McDonald's, like going to driver's ed, like riding my bike, you know, to like work and stuff. And then I started waiting tables at like 16 at some retirement home, you know, but it's just always like a constant hustle. MCI, you guys probably don't even remember that shit,
no.
dude.
I remember.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one that was right there off of Harper?
Yeah,
Near
man.
Del Norte
Dude,
Sports and Wellness?
that was a Fortune 5, not even 500, Fortune 5 company that ended up collapsing like during the time of Enron.
Yeah, I remember having some friends in high school that like worked there, and they had more money than anybody I knew.
Yeah, dude, it was
like, how are they working there and still going to high school?
it was weird. I
Thinking
just
of one
remember
guy in
like
particular, I was like, how?
I remember crying on Halloween though, because I was like 16 years old and so pissed that I couldn't get up, and I like had my costume and shit, and I was like, I'm working.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. So just kind of like doing that thing though, and then in college, I actually got my real estate license when I was 19 because my friend was going to real estate school whose dad was a broker, and I was like, no shit, we can do that? So I was like, okay. So I enlisted like credit cards, like racked up like a bunch of bills and started putting myself through continuing education and then foregoing like my university classes. And I just punted those and then like was going to all the continuing ed that I could possibly do. Like I think I did something like 130 hours one summer or something like that. I took like every fucking class. So it was like, I'm 19 years old. So I better be the smartest person if I actually want to sell a house. Plus my parents were like, you're an idiot and you're never going to sell a house. Nobody's going to buy or sell from you. I was like, oh,
that
shit.
is crazy, because my last semester at La Cueva as a senior, I was taking my real estate license
No
classes
shit.
too.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Like,
that is Dearborn.
Yeah. Yes, it was Dearborn at the time. Remember
Yes,
that?
dude,
Off of
I
Spain.
do. I do, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still do the classes there now. I heard that they may have moved and stuff even since when I like started up again in the business. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I saw I always
dude, I did. So then, you know, I kind of networked a little bit. My dad had a friend who was a broker, Ron Quinones, RIP. I owned a place called Imperial Group. And he was so busy. He was like, I've got like these extra houses that it's hard for me to work. And I was like, cool, I'll take them. And so he was really awesome. He like showed me how to measure houses and homes. And like, I mean, continue ed, you know, taught me a lot of taxes, blah, blah, blah. Long story, like I was doing a few here and there, but I actually have a pretty big family in town. So it was 2005, 2006, and I was just, you know, running through the family, and like I'd do a deal and then I'd like go throw a party and I'd do a deal and go throw a party. And then I got into hospitality and tried to start this advertising company at the same time. And Then started doing investing into real estate. And long story short, 2007, I kind of quit doing buying and selling real estate and just was doing investing for myself. And then the economy crashed in 2008.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit younger than you, and that's kind of the way things were. Is I got out of real estate school, and it was like time to go to college. My parents were really pushing that, formal education type of thing.
Totally. My parents wanted me to be
they all
an
want
engineer,
the
man.
best for us kind of thing. And so I did that, and then soon afterwards, the housing market was falling apart.
Dude, my parents were so freaking pissed off that I wasn't going to work for the federal government and as an engineer. Literally, they fucking hated me, dude. Like, they were so pissed that I was not an engineer because I was always pretty good at math. And she's like, engineer, you get all these holidays off and like it's secured and get your degree and nobody could take that away from you. And I was like, man, and I didn't understand job security because I kept getting fired from like jobs that I was at. Like, literally every job that I would start, I'd fucking get fired.
Where was the first place you ever got fired?
McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, working that drive-through, tough, man.
So did you find it hard, or
No.
did you feel like you ever spread yourself too thin when you're trying to invest in yourself as well as keep a regular 9-to-5 job to make mom and pops happy?
Yeah, and that's really what it was. It was really to keep mom and pops happy. And it was always like, I was stupid. Like, my parents would tell me, like, take care of your money and your money will take care of you. Well, yeah, I just like didn't learn that for the longest time. Yeah. Dude, mm-hmm. I'm like, 21 years old. 2007 was the best year ever. I was doing sales. Grandma and grandpa like bought and sold their house. Aunt and uncle did the same thing, like good homes. And then like the real estate market was just booming, and I was hustling too. I was doing, I could see the foreclosures were starting to happen, and I would go to the courthouse 3 times a week, and I would record all of the houses that were filed under foreclosure.
Right. Yeah.
And then I would go to the homes and I would knock on their doors, and I'd be like, hey, I hear there's some problems with your bank. I'm a 21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about it?
Trust me about it. Trust me.
Yeah. And they half of them would be like, get the fuck out of here. The other half wouldn't answer, or quarter wouldn't answer. And like 1 out of every 10 would actually answer and invite me in, and I'd be like, well, the least thing that I could do is keep you in your house, show you how to keep you in your house an extra 3 months, and then we'd just start talking about it. But through that, I did get a lot of listings, and then I also found a house for myself. And I don't know, I was the youngest kid at Campbell & Campbell on the team, and I had I went and bought these like wine boxes from like TJ Maxx. They were like $6, and that was my closing gift, was like a bottle of champagne and a bottle of nice red, because I've always been like a wine guy. I started getting into wine when I was 19, working at Olive Garden, and so I bought all these boxes, about 30 of them, and I was like, I'm gonna get rid of all of these boxes by the end of the year in 2007 as closing gifts, and I almost did. But what that did for me is it actually put me at the top of my team. So there's 12 of us, and I was the #1 salesperson at 21 years old in 2007 at Campbell & Campbell. And everybody else hated me because they were like, this fucking kid, But anyway, so then I ended up buying my own house off of Indian School, just east of Carlisle, and just doing it as a flip. And again, my parents were like, you're a fucking idiot, man. And don't do it. And they're like, you spent how much on a 900 square foot little 2-bed, 1-bath house? And I was like, Mom, just listen to me. So I had all these credit cards, and I just maxed them all out because I've always been a fucking risk-taking asshole. And so I put $18,000 into this thing, had a Home Depot card, maxed that out. Dude, all kinds of stuff. The big struggle, a guy that I partnered with on it who was supposed to do all the work, got into meth, and like had to kick him out. And long story short, on that particular situation, I ended up hiring my brother after getting this other guy out, and who's a firefighter and the most genuine, coolest dude that ever, and I respect so much. Ended up, he's like really handy, and he's like, dude, we can do this. Mm-hmm. And so for 3 months, he and I just met up at the house every day, and we would just work. And he just showed me how to do flooring and drywall, and we did a new roof. I mean, the house inside and out we did. Our ourselves, and it was one of the greatest summers of my life. And I got really close with him and realized how amazing of a human being he is. He was newly married at the time, baby on the way, and he just trusted me. And when I'd buy him the tools that he'd need if he didn't have it, and I said, I'm going to get you at the end. I'm going to get you at the end. And he believed in me, and that was amazing. And finally, when we finished that house in July 1st of 2007, I put it on the market and sold it in 6 days.
Nice.
For $198,500, and I bought it for $134,400 and paid myself a commission on it and shit like that. And so I ended up making like loot on this thing, and I remember getting that check and taking a picture of it and sending it to my mom and doing the "how do you like them apples" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I was a little shit, and I was just like, "I want you to be proud of me."
Was that the risk that made them buy into what Stephen Segura is right now, or
No,
did it take more?
dude. No.
No?
They were literally like, "Good for you. I'm glad that worked out."
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to school, and it's just like, dude, it just killed me, and I was like, "Fuck, man. What is it gonna take to get them to say that they're proud?" So I just kept going though, and then the market did crash. I blew all of the money because like I said, it was 21 years
21,
old,
yeah.
dude. And I was like, money's so easy to make. I got a girlfriend, and like we'd go to, you were buying her dresses and purses and renting out Q Bar and doing the stupidest shit you could possibly imagine, and then the market, I thought it was just going to go on forever, and it didn't. Market crashed. I remember being at the courthouse, like recording new foreclosures, and I hear Bear Stearns collapse, and I was like, what?
Uh-oh.
Oh shit. And I was like, and I'm not doing like sales anymore. Oh no, like what am I was trying to start this advertising company I was spending money on, and I was like, what am I doing? Dude, the stock market just got cut in half. So I ended up was like, I was being the risky guy that I am. I had the rest of my money tied up in Goldman Sachs options, to not even stocks, options that expired in 4 months. And I just kept buying more of them because I was like buying Goldman Sachs at 105, selling it at 120, buying it at 105, selling it at 120. And it just kept going down and down and down. And I was buying it at 85, and then it just went all the way down to 60. And my options expired worthless. Again, I remember crying. I'm a bit of a crier.
Yeah.
And I cried. I threw my laptop against the wall. That was everything that I had. I had like $1,000 left to my name. I had this girlfriend who just cheated on me. And I was like, oh, life. So I was like, I need to get a job or something. So I applied at HP, and I was the 27th hire there when they had just moved here. And I did the training program, and then I went to Bonnaroo. And I went to this like really freeing experience. And the moment I came back, I quit.
Wow.
And from then on, that's all that to say how I got to into the entertainment business. And I just love traveling to festivals and concerts. And I was like, man, this is so good. Like I'm getting so much enjoyment out of it, and like getting into dance music. And I was like, my rave fam, like back in 2008, 2009. And
those were the years,
dude,
too.
those were the years. I had a friend who was a DJ, and I'm like, bro, you're always complaining about money. Like, how do we get you from here to here? And we're just like sitting in my living room, and we're going through it, and I'm like, dude, you need to start like a organization that throws parties, puts you on as the DJ, because at the time nobody knew what a DJ actually did in 2008.
Right.
So I was like, and then we'll say that you're the best, and so that's what we started doing. And so we were looking around my bookshelf. I was a big Lewis Carroll and Dr. Seuss fan, and found one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. And I was like, red fish or blue fish? And flipped a coin, red fish it was. And that's how that started.
Yeah.
So then coming from real estate world into brand new endeavor of entertainment,
Brand new.
how did you navigate those waters? Or did you just jump in and drown for a little bit?
God,
Yeah,
guys,
because I as a spectator, kind of saw the rise of redfish as as a patron, and I just remember it was almost like instant,
Dude, it was an instant ass kicking. So it seems like every time I try to jump into a business, I try to choose the hardest business that I could possibly find and jump into that. And I don't know what it is. I'm definitely a risk taker. Like I'm a blackjack kind of player, but like, I don't know, man. I don't like to make things easy on myself. So I entered the hardest business known to man, which is the entertainment business. And at the beginning, it was great because I just started, throwing events and they were selling out. And I was like, shit, there is a market for this. And so then I went in with a business attitude and went to all the bars and nightclubs and like a suit and tie and was like, I have a plan on how to get you, and not in like a cheesy way, but in like a let's show me your sales. We're gonna exceed that, and here's how. And if we don't, you don't pay me anything. So they were like, done. Okay. So then every bar, wanted me to play or do something. And I was like, but I really had my eyes set on Launchpad and Sunshine Theater. And one of these days, I'm gonna throw a show at Sunshine Theater.
Let's sell that out. So that was your pinnacle.
That's
Sunshine or Launchpad.
At the time it was, yeah, and because they were just like real concert venues.
Sure.
And so I started doing shows like on a weekly at this place called the Atomic Cantina. I don't know if you remember Atomic Cantina next to Burt's off of Gold.
Yeah.
And
Burt's, man.
yeah. This dude Leonard was my homie there, and so he kind of showed me how to do it and gave me like an in that way, and introduced me to Joe Anderson, who owned Sunshine Theater and Launchpad at the time, or still does. And and then he started hearing a reputation of me like doing well with shows. So then Joe, allowed me to do a show at Launchpad, and I was at this festival called Monolith Fest in Denver, and these bands got bumped, and Glitch Mob didn't show up or something like that. So this band Savoy got bumped up to like this top slot, and I got to listen to these guys. I was walking by after Passion Pit. These guys Savoy get on, and they start playing this Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free song, and it was electro dance music but with a live drum set, and it was just, I love that guitar riff, Money for Nothing, like boom. And then all of a sudden, and this dude jumps up and smashes the cymbals like boom, and it blew my face off, man. And I was like, I've never booked like an out-of-state band before. That's gonna be the first one that I book. So I hit him up, Facebook, and $800, got all three guys, all their equipment and everything in a van from Denver down to Albuquerque, and we did it at Launchpad, sold it out, 21 plus, and I don't know, maybe Joe can tell me if this is true or not, but I'm pretty sure we held the record for the 9 years that it was open for the highest grossing liquor sales ever that night.
Really?
And sold it out, and I was just like, this is fucking it, man. I love this shit too much. So
yeah,
that's sweet.
Yeah.
From that pivoted, right, and went from Redfish to what is
yeah so I did Redfish for a while, and just it really got positioned to this like dance music company. And fast forwarding a couple of years, I took over the El Rey Theater, and so much happened in there, but so I took this thing over, and I started doing actually more music, live music, than I was doing dance. And Redfish was just known so much as dance, and I don't know, I just didn't like the brand anymore, and brands are just meant to like die and start new things. Yeah. Sure. So I really wanted a different brand called, and I just was like, dude, I want something that really promotes Albuquerque, and that just gives like Albuquerque love. And every time somebody like promotes this show, it's going to promote Albuquerque at the same time. Yeah, so awesome. That's where Viva Albuquerque or Viva ABQ came from. And 2016, January 1st, I switched everything over and killed off Redfish and started Viva ABQ.
Did you have any backlash or pushback from other people maybe that were within Redfish when you wanted to make that change to make a brand new brand? And
no pushback within the organization, because like they're employees, and they totally respected and understood what it was that I was going for. Yeah. But I got some kickback from people in the community who were confused a little bit as to like what Viva ABQ really was. And so I'd get a lot of people who were just like, hey, I want to be, you're getting a lot of traffic on your website and your Facebook page. I want my event on there. And I'm like, oh, well, it's not like just like a community event page. Right. Like this is only if I'm like helping produce this in one way or another is it going to go on there. And people gave me some shit about it, but that was short-lived, and people understand now.
So Drew kind of turned me on to the Somos project. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's something that I plan on attending this year.
Good.
Because I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, dude, it's a big undertaking and an amazing party, but a hell of a good time for a stupid, ridiculous price. So Somos ABQ, the whole idea behind it was, how can we produce an event on large scale that gives the guests so much value that it's undeniable that you're gonna A, go, and B, regionally thinking that you could buy a flight and a plane ticket and then buy a Somos ticket, and it would be just as cheap as it would be to like go to a Red Rock show, in Denver or something like that. And that's really what we've done. And for the last 3 years, every year we've started tickets at $10. And even this year they started at $10, and now they're $15, and we're going to do 20 at the door.
That's a huge picture to paint, coming from Launchpad and Sunshine to now tens of thousands of people coming to downtown Albuquerque for a single day.
Definitely. We did about 27,000 people last year at Somos. And, the way they did it is just because I'm a big picture thinker. I know the devil's in the details, and I am very detail oriented in some ways, but it's hard for me to execute the details. But I have this big picture all of the time. So I like to connect things. I see where needs need to be met. And I felt like this is what was needed in Albuquerque. And there's a couple of reasons. One of them, the biggest one, I feel like, is for economic development. It's a part of economic development that's not necessarily talked about. And that's literally the pride of place of our young people here. We have a great economic team that's working on trying to create jobs and, different things within industries and all that. And they're doing a great job. But what's not an arm in maybe the 5 pillars of economic development is literally entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but for me, that is the sole reason why I wanted to leave Albuquerque. And I skipped that. I actually went to Las Vegas to do UNLV and study hospitality management. Hated it, but I loved how much shit there was to do there. Right. And I was just like, I want my people in Albuquerque to be there with me. And I knew that I couldn't bring Albuquerque there, but so I felt like I could bring some pieces stuff that back home here. Yeah.
So speaking on that, if you could, if you stayed in Vegas or any other city, would you have had the same vision to do a Somos insert whatever city there?
Dude,
it's solely because you are here and want to do it for here?
It's solely because I'm here and want to do it. I mean, if anywhere I was, I'm always going to have some sort of drive to find something. But this is what was needed. Albuquerque needed somebody like this to be this kind of catalyst. And the reason why I love Albuquerque and the reason why I'm staying here is because it is not boring, because there's so much shit, in my opinion, that needs to be done.
Yes.
Yeah. What's boring as hell for me? Going to Seattle and everything's already done. It's already a badass city that's so much. I'm like,
every scene is created. It's already developed. Here, it's honestly so moldable still.
Totally, man.
Is what it feels like. You know, it feels like we're at that point where it's about to ignite, and Albuquerque's going to see it completely. It's going to be a very different place in 10 years.
Yes, and you do talk to people who are old, and they've said that for the last 30 years, that Albuquerque's on this fence, and it's gonna go, man. It's just gonna be there.
There's a different vibe that's out there right now, and I think that young people here have been just dying to latch on to something amazing, something great, right? So, like a Somos, honestly, like a New Mexico United, right?
Absolutely.
Or people want something
to be
that they
proud
can
of
just be really proud of.
Pride of place, guys. That pride of place.
Yeah.
But here's what's happening. So we've got these cool cities like Denver and all that. You have people that don't quite have that drive, though, that maybe we have. Yeah. And I understand that, man. I empathize. Some people are just like, fuck, man, I don't want to put in that work. Right. I go to my 9 to 5 and I just want to know that I can go into my, and I'm just gonna be shitty here, my cookie cutter derogatory restaurant, and it's gonna be clean and good service and overpriced, and I'm just kidding. But the reality is they want to go somewhere that's, I swear, Instagrammable or cool or feel cool, but I feel like that shit wears off.
Yeah, it's
they
you
go
make that, but you can't sustain that.
Totally.
Right? Yeah,
I get a lot of friends, and I feel like in my opinion, it's like a 7-year pattern where people will move to another city and they're so into it and the nightlife and brunch and fuck yeah, and then they're like, damn, that's expensive and rent's expensive, and I'm driving to this job that I'm commuting an hour. By the time I get ready and blah, 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 that's a 14-hour day for me, 13-hour day, and I end up going home and watching Netflix anyway.
Yeah, right. So me and Gavin and everybody part of this always talks about helping be that change that is changing the narrative.
Right.
So was there somebody or something that you saw was like, I want to be a part of that to help change the narrative within entertainment and nightlife or within the real estate world or anything? Or
You know what it is that I saw, man? It was, I went to, and granted, it was one of the shittiest places, Las Vegas, Nevada, where I lived, and the people sucked. Man, they fucking sucked. Right. I was like, I hate all of you. Holy shit. Like, there's not one person after being there like a year that I could like go back and be like, let's have a beer, man. Like, I just feel like they wanted to step on your face. They weren't authentic. They just wasn't real. It was also fake. And granted, like I said, it's Vegas. I get it. But what it did was it gave me a greater appreciation for Albuquerque and the people of Albuquerque. And I was like, I fucking love those people, man.
We're so community-based and relationship-driven that I think people like take that for granted, right? Whatever industry you're in, like if you do a good job at communication and respect and take care of those relationships that you have and that are authentic and real, like you could reach a lot of high pinnacles.
You can, man.
Right
and
here within like your sphere of people.
The beautiful thing is that I get here is that I'm like, Albuquerque is like, what you see is what you get. Yeah. You know, like I see you, I know what you're gonna be, and you're authentic and real. In other places, I just wasn't getting that. And other places I was traveling, and maybe Canada was pretty cool, but people are pretty nice up there. But so anyway, I mean, and I just saw, I was sick of people shitting on Albuquerque all the time because of this and that. I'm like, guys, you're looking at too much superficial shit,
right?
And you're not like, Albuquerque has a soul and culture, and it's quirky and weird and fucked up, and I love it.
It's rich here. Like, there's a richness to our culture and to this city that is, it's not found in every other place that you go to, right?
Totally.
It gets over-commercialized. It becomes packaged, and that, Albuquerque hasn't become that. But we have a lot of opportunity in creating a wicked sick scene for everything, right? We have great food. We have great drinks. We have great music. We have great minds. We have a ton of that. It's just a matter of sometimes I feel like our own people need to give themselves permission to just own it.
Absolutely, man.
And that's why when I created the first video on this whole thing, it was, I think it comes down to an individual level here, right? People need to take ownership of their particular role in this change. And that's why it's not we choose Albuquerque, it's I choose Albuquerque, because, I personally have a responsibility to fulfill those shoes the best way that I personally can. And so do you. And so does Drew. And so does everybody behind the cameras, and that's why this is coming together.
Where I do empathize, where I see some people just don't want to do that, man.
And that's cool.
They don't want to put in that work, and I get it.
But that's why we exist.
You're right.
That's why we're here.
And but what I would say to somebody who just doesn't want to do that, who does move to Denver, the one thing that I do that annoys and gets under my skin is they go and then automatically they just think they're better than they're like, and then they talk so much shit, and it's like, oh my god.
In Denver we have all this and that, and it's like, cool.
What I like about that,
you're so cool now,
right?
Like anybody can move.
That window, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 7 years. They're going to miss here eventually, and a piece of them will always still be here, and a piece of them will always come back here because this is what is authentic.
And guess what?
You grew around.
That's not everybody. I know a lot of people who have left and are doing awesome and are happier than can be.
I mean, I got nothing against those people.
Yeah,
like, honestly, like, I'm happy for those people, but
there's
something to be said for digging in here and making something happen on your own home court.
Dude, exactly. Or just one more example. So I had this guy who just finally moved. He was always complaining when he was here and just so negative all the time that he goes to Denver, and first time in his life he starts hiking. He's like, oh, it's so cool. Like, I'm like, dude, you just jumped on the bandwagon because they made it seem like hiking was cool.
Right, because
but
it's
dude,
cool there.
You
it's
could,
super
it's
trendy.
So cool.
It's super trendy.
There's a line to hit the trail, but like, dude, you could have hit the
it's
trail
been there.
here.
It's never not
whole
been
time.
There. Yeah, no, I get you.
So sheep, whatever.
Take it for granted, though.
Anyway, man. So
it is what it is.
But that being said, man, I just, like I said, I feel like there's a lot to be done here. I feel like I'm needed here. And I feel like you're needed here, And so that feels good.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If you had a vision for Albuquerque in the next 5 to 10 years, what does it kind of look like? Or maybe just in your particular space.
And where do you see like that the most potential? Like, is it within the entertainment sphere or is it somewhere else?
Well, man, I mean, with like the Netflix stuff coming in, I think
Studios.
there's a lot within the entertainment sphere, because there are ridiculous creatives in New Mexico that are awesome. Plus, these big corporations that are coming in. So, that we're just on the tip of the iceberg there. So I see that. I do feel like the one big monster thing that would help us is liquor license reform, because we need a better hospitality industry here that's going to help with entertainment, which is going to help with nightlife, which is going to help with a better quality of life for our young people, which I think is so needed because we're wanting to go out more. You talk to all these people who are like, social media is killing people socially. I'm like, no, it's like I go do shit because sometimes I want to I want to do it for the gram. You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I need to get that photo. So I'm gonna go out there real quick. I'll admit it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So do you think restaurants and bars and nightlife places are adapting to that, like making it more for the gram?
Absolutely, they absolutely are. And
have to keep up, right?
Dude, you do. And just it's fun and people you're being seen now with more eyes, and so you want to clean it up, and so that is some things that I do see. Not saying like we need more corporations, so to speak, but we can use a little bit more like professional business in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I get it when some people are like, dude, we don't want a lot of that. We want to keep, it authentic and absolutely want to keep the soul. But I feel like, there can be a little bit better business.
Healthy balance of both.
Yeah, let small business carry the torch, but we're going to need a little bit of that momentum.
Yeah, and you know what it
players,
would be, man, is like if we didn't have that so much brain drain and some of the young people did invest back into the city that they grew up in, because we have some freaking talent and smart individuals that get their degrees here or whatever from high school, leave, and then they go and they invest in these other cities to make them better when it's like, fuck, we just need you here.
Yeah.
Right.
So
how do we capture and keep them here?
Well, I think that they have to learn on their own, and I feel like, I have a lot of friends that, like, let's use New York, for example, that come back to Albuquerque and are like, man, this is nice. I've done the New York thing for a while. I'm 29 years old, and I am, this is nice. Like, we go to Marble or something, they're like, room, this is weird. What? I paid, $5 for this beer. What? $5 for this Tito's that affects, only cost me $10 to come in here and see my favorite DJ. This is crazy, and they kind of get over it, and they're like, I want to start a life, and it's impossible for me to start a life in these other places because all my money is going towards rent,
right? And
I'm just working to watch Netflix and just paying all towards rent, and I want to buy a home and buy some property, and so I think that kind of stuff ends up changing. People stop getting so flashy on like Dallas brunch scene or whatever.
Sure. What about? Okay, let's talk about brunch now. What about Albuquerque Wine Dive?
Oh my God!
Tell me about this.
Brunches.
Yeah.
What is this?
So Wine Dive, again, like I said, I just love to enter businesses that are fucking tough. And apologize for cursing so much here, but it's kind of the way that I talk. But yeah, man. So that was another business. I was like, we need to keep investing in our downtown. And I saw this really great space. I'm a big wine guy, and I have been for over a decade. And I'm just like, I've just been so into it, and it was really servicing a need for myself.
Where is the space?
So it's on the northeast corner of 2nd and Gold, right underneath the Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce downtown. And what would happen is I would try to, I'd be chilling with my homies, and I'd be like, dude, I just really want some good wine. It'd be like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I would go someplace and buy us a bottle and just talk about this amazing product if there was a place that we could go and chill. But there wasn't. So I was just collecting wine, and we'd go to a house or whatever, and I was just boring. I want to go out somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
And like there was like Scalo, I guess, or a restaurant. Everything was just kind of like a restaurant, not like wine forward, and it would close at like 10 o'clock.
Right.
Nothing I could go. So I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So the idea was to start this hole-in-the-wall little spot that literally was just like, 2 people working or whatever, and like just talking wine and like cheese. Okay. And I found out that I couldn't do it. It was impossible to do it in New Mexico because of a liquor license. So the only way to make it possible was to actually open a restaurant. So I did find a space that was on a corner that was cool, that had a really dope kitchen. It's a quaint spot with tall ceilings, and that became Albuquerque, or the Wine Dive. And we opened in February. Yeah, man. So then we've just been making the best out of it. But original idea was just to do a small quaint wine bar.
You have to have a full kitchen for it to work.
Yeah,
like to run
so
right now.
you have to have 60% of your sales have to be non-alcoholic. Yeah,
Okay.
so food or non-alcoholic beverage, and then to 40%.
Do you remember
Interesting.
what was it, like the Chama tap room
Oh yeah,
downtown?
yeah.
So you
That's,
was that kind of like a similar concept as what you were thinking, but just with
So-
like
so-
small, quaint? Like I used to
All right.
love that place back then.
I'm going to tell you guys a little bit on what's going on with liquor licenses, just in 30 seconds.
I know nothing
Cool.
of this. let
Okay,
it
so
rip.
check this out. So liquor licenses suck in New Mexico. You want a
Lottery
liquor license
system?
in downtown. No, it's not even a lottery system. You want a liquor license in downtown Albuquerque. You're looking at about a $350,000 minimum investment to sell
Right.
full liquor. If you lease it, you're talking about $3,500 to $4,000 a month. So you're talking about an asset that is going to cost you as much or more than your rent just to be able to sell liquor. So if doing a small little wine bar where you're paying $1,000 a month in rent, but $3,500 for the license doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So with that, there's only a limited number of liquor licenses. They haven't produced another liquor license since like 1978 or something like that. And so the people who own liquor licenses are holding on to them, and they're
Leasing them out.
making sure that no more are getting produced, because as quantity and demand, as demand grows and more people move to the city and more corporations come in who can afford it, and quantity stays the same, the price goes up. Simple economics. So they're really protective over these things because the asset just keeps increasing in value as more demand keeps raising. Anyway, so there are lobbyists out there who are trying to get liquor license reform to happen. There are some politicians, but they're not going for the full thing. Like the governor is not going to could help make this call, but they're not going to, because the majority of liquor licenses are owned by gas stations, and gas stations are owned by oil and gas. And oil and gas is the biggest commodity in New Mexico. So yeah, like the governor's going to be like, I'm going in on like changing liquor license reform. And then the oil and gas companies are like, F you, like I'm not supporting
So they have a
you.
full liquor license at like your Speedway now.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got on-premise, off-premise licenses where they can, sell
Well,
or
I never
off-premise
understood
licenses.
any of that. I just,
Anyway, so they can sell packaged liquor, but they're trying to keep their asset minimum. They don't want to produce anymore. There's no reason, because the value keeps going up. So there are those and everybody knows that liquor license reform needs to be done, changed. They know it, but they're not willing to do it. Some are though, and that's where the brewery concept came about.
Stem from.
So you have these breweries that have made it easy. So now it's like if you're a brewer, you can open your tap room and you can open 2 other tap rooms. So that's what Chama was. Brewery was where Blue Corn used to be over by Century Rio.
right.
And then one of their tap rooms was that little spot.
Okay, so
in
that's how
Sunshine
they were
Theater.
able to pull that off.
Totally.
Yeah, I
totally.
used to
And-
love that spot because it was small.
Yeah.
Because it was.
But
intimate.
it's still a really dope spot. It's now called, I don't know, I forget what it's called, but Joe Anderson's running it, and he's piggybacking off the license from Sunshine Theater. So that's how he's able to get that going. It's awesome, and I commend him for it because it's an amazing spot.
Awesome. So when is Somos?
Somos is Saturday, September 28th, 2019 at Civic Plaza. And that's going to be the biggest party of the year, and it's $15.
So now your Pinnacle went from Sunshine or Launchpad to now the entire Civic Plaza downtown.
Yeah, and more, man. We're actually taking over the parking lots behind it. I mean, Civic Plaza is like the smaller footprint. Like the monster stages are going behind it. And
Okay.
It's going to be the biggest production that I've ever put on, the best stage that I've ever put on, a show that's going to literally, people are going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah, you guys are bringing in crazy talent, but you're also
Yeah.
still nurturing, giving so many local artists a chance to showcase their talent as well. which is
Dude,
dope.
heck yeah.
I'll be there.
Cool.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, thanks for listening to my story, guys.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we're
Thanks for-
super pumped to have you. Our very first episode
Yeah.
Yeah.
on your birthday.
Honored. On
Yeah.
my
Happy birthday again. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate
Awesome.
having you.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Thanks for being part of the conversation. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at I Choose Albuquerque.